The wind is screaming across a frozen plain. Snow slashes sideways like knives. At -30 degrees, every breath should burn your lungs. Yet somewhere out there, families once slept soundly, without fire, without walls, without fear. They had no metal, no glass, no insulation, only snow, earth, bark, hide. And somehow they turned the deadliest cold on the continent into warmth. For thousands of years, Native Americans built shelters so ingenious that modern architects still study them today. Igloos, tipis, earth lodges, each one a masterclass in survival science. So here's the question. How do you turn a blizzard into a blanket? Let's uncover 7 shelters that defied winter itself. Modern people panic when the heater breaks. We wrap ourselves in layers, rush to find warmth, and curse the cold like it's an enemy. But for the ancient tribes of North America, cold wasn't the enemy, it was a teacher. Across this continent, winter could kill in hours. From the blizzards of the Great Plains to the endless Arctic whiteouts, to the frozen lakes of the Northeast and the desert nights of the Southwest, there was no escape. And yet, for thousands of years, Native Americans not only survived, they thrived. How by flipping everything we think we know about comfort. They didn't fight nature, they designed with it. While our cities seal every gap and battle wind, their homes invited it to dance. Where we see useless snow, they saw insulation. Where we see dirt, they saw thermal mass. Where we fear drafts, they saw ventilation. Every element of their architecture was born from a deep observation of nature's rhythm. Think about it. No electricity, no nails, no concrete. Yet these structures built from hands, bones, and instincts could withstand storms that destroy modern cabins. Each shelter was like a living organism. An igloo breathes through its snow walls, regulating heat and air pressure. An earth lodge absorbs sunlight by day and releases it by night. A teepee shifts and flexes with the wind instead of breaking under it. Every detail had a reason, every curve a purpose. These homes weren't just shelters, they were philosophies made of snow and soil. When you step inside, you don't just enter a house, you step into a dialogue with nature. And that's what modern survivalists often miss. We build walls higher, heaters hotter, and still feel fragile. But those who came before us built smarter, not harder. They learned to borrow from the land, not to conquer it. That's the essence of real survival harmony, not resistance. So imagine this. You're caught in a whiteout miles from civilization. Your gear is gone. The temperature plummets below zero. What would you do if you answered find shelter, you're halfway there? But if you answered use the storm itself, then you're thinking like them. In the next moments, we'll travel through time from Arctic snowfields to prairie valleys, mountain plateaus and coastal tundras, to discover 7 designs that turned the impossible into everyday life. They were sculptors of warmth in a world of ice, and their creations reveal a truth we've long forgotten. You don't defeat the cold by hiding from it. You survive by understanding it. So the question is, when the storm comes for you, will you fight it or let it build your walls for you? Imagine standing on an empty white plain. No trees, no rocks, no shadows, just wind, snow, and silence so thick it hums. Temperatures fall below 40 degrees, and the air itself bites. Yet here, a few blocks of snow can mean the difference between life and death. To most people, snow is the enemy. But to the Inuit, it was the ultimate resource. They carved it, shaped it, and turned it into an engine of warmth. The igloo is not just a snow hut. It's a perfect equation of geometry and physics, a structure designed to breathe. Each snow block is cut in a spiral, forming a dome that locks itself tighter with every layer. There's no mortar, no glue, just gravity and the precision of human hands. The entrance, a narrow tunnel, traps the cold air like a moat. Inside, the warmth from a single seal oil lamp spreads softly, meeting the snow walls that insulate like thousands of tiny air pockets. Here's the paradox: snow is frozen water. Touch it, and it melts. But when packed right snow becomes a slow conductor, it holds warmth without letting it escape. So as the lamp burns, the inner surface of the igloo melts just a little, then freezes again, forming a thin layer of ice that seals the dome like glass. The colder it gets outside, the stronger the shell becomes. No nails, no metal, no plastic. Yet it can last for weeks, even months. It's not just engineering, it's intuition honed over generations. The Inuit didn't study thermodynamics, they lived it. They learned to read snow like others read books, its density, grain, and sound when cut. Too soft and it collapses, too hard and it cracks, just right and it breathes. Inside the igloo, light filters through the translucent walls, giving everything a pale blue glow. The sound of wind outside fades into a dull whisper. It's not luxury, but it's safety, a calm heartbeat in a frozen world. Now here's the twist. An igloo can be built in as little as 2 hours. 2 hours to create a warm, livable space in an environment where exposed skin freezes in minutes. So ask yourself, if you lost all modern tools, could you build warmth from the very thing trying to kill you? That's what makes the igloo a masterpiece of survival. It doesn't defy the blizzard. It uses it. The same snow that threatens your life becomes your shield. When the storm rages and the horizon disappears, the igloo doesn't fight back. It disappears too, blending into the white, silent unseen. And maybe that's the most profound lesson of all. Sometimes the best way to survive nature is to become part of it. Now travel south away from the Arctic light and into the endless prairies of the upper Missouri River. Here the wind doesn't bite, it roars. It sweeps across the grasslands like a living thing, flattening everything in its path. And yet, in the middle of that storm, entire villages once stood warm, stable, alive. These were the homes of the Mandan Hidatsa and Arikara, massive round lodges built half from the earth itself. To the untrained eye, they look like small hills scattered across the plains. But inside, they were masterpieces of balance between strength and comfort. Each earth lodge began with a skeleton of heavy wooden beams, often cottonwood trunks, thick and curved like ribs. Over that, layers of branches, reeds, grass, and finally, earth. Tons of it. A skin of living soil that made the house part of the land. In the center burned a small fire pit directly beneath an opening in the roof. That single vent served two purposes, a smoke escape and a breath of sky. During the day, sunlight slipped through, warming the air and feeding the flames. At night, the earth walls held that heat, releasing it slowly as the temperature plunged. Thermal mass, that's what modern science calls it. But to the Mandan, it was simply wisdom passed down through hands and seasons. The thicker the walls, the slower the loss of heat. When snow piled on the roof, it didn't crush the house, it insulated it even more. Nature wasn't an enemy, it was a helper. Step inside, and the first thing you'd notice isn't just warmth, it's sound. The howling wind outside becomes a faint hum, like the earth itself is breathing. The space glows with soft firelight. Children play near the center. Women cook over the hearth. Elders tell stories while smoke curls toward the stars. Each house held not just people, but generations. A single roof could shelter up to 30 souls beating as one heart. And when many lodges stood together, they formed circular villages, protective clusters facing inward built near natural windbreaks, like riverbanks or groves of cottonwood trees. Even their placement was strategic, always near water, always aligned with the flow of the land. It wasn't random. It was science wrapped in culture. You could say these people invented passive solar design centuries before architects gave it a name. Their homes were self-regulating, cool in summer, warm in winter, without wires, vents, or thermostats. Now think about your own house. How much energy does it take just to feel comfortable, and how often does it make you forget the world outside instead of harmonizing with it? The Earth Lodge teaches something different, that comfort doesn't come from control, it comes from connection. When the blizzard rolled across the plains, these homes didn't resist. They sank deeper into the land. The thicker the snow, the warmer the night. So ask yourself, could you trust the storm enough to let it keep you warm? Now we descend underground into the quiet warmth beneath the frost. In the plateau region and parts of the Northwest, families once dug their homes into the soil itself. These were the pit houses, half-buried sanctuaries that turned the earth into armor. Imagine standing on the frozen surface, hearing only the whistle of wind. Then, lifting a hatch, you climb down a wooden ladder into a chamber glowing with firelight. The air is still. The walls are packed earth. The storm outside is gone, replaced by silence and breath. Each pit house began as a wide circular hole lined with logs and sealed with layers of bark and grass. The roof sloped low so snow would slide off instead of crushing it. There was no door on the side, only a roof entrance. You'd crawl in through the smoke hole, closing the hatch behind you. That small act alone saved lives because no wind could reach below the surface. What made it brilliant wasn't size or beauty. It was temperature. Below ground, the air stayed stable year-round, cool in summer, mild in winter. Even when blizzards raged above the soil, kept a steady rhythm of warmth. The deeper you went, the safer you were. Some might call it primitive. But think again. Modern earth-sheltered houses follow the same rule: minimal exposure, maximum efficiency. Nature had already written the blueprint. Farther south, among the mesas and deserts of the Southwest, another kind of home rose from the dust, the winter Hogan of the Navajo Diné. It looked simple, a low circular hut made of logs and stone plastered with mud. But every inch of it carried meaning. The door always faced east, not for decoration but devotion to greet the first sunlight of the day. When the cold desert night ended, the rising sun poured through that doorway, warming the floor and drying the frost. You could say the Hogan ran on solar power, 1,000 years before the word existed. The walls were thick, airtight, heavy with earth. The roof smoke hole could open or close with precision, controlling both fire and airflow. Every angle was intentional, nothing wasted. And beneath its design lay a quiet philosophy. To live, you must align yourself with the rhythm of the world. When outsiders saw these homes, they thought them crude. But what they missed was elegance, the kind that hides in function. Each home whispered, "The sun is my furnace, the wind is my breath, the earth is my wall." Now pause for a second. Look around your own room. How much energy, wiring, and noise does it take to give you comfort, and how much of that truly belongs to nature? The Pit House and Hogan remind us that survival isn't about more. It's about less, fewer walls, fewer battles, more harmony. So when the next storm comes, ask yourself, would you rather fight the cold or let the earth hold you close? From the earth, we move toward the edge of the continent, where the ocean breathes frost and the wind cuts like a blade. Here, among the coastal Aleut and Alutiiq, stood the Barabara or sod house, a hybrid between cave and cabin. Picture this: driftwood beams sunk into the ground, covered with woven grass mats and heavy sod. A long, narrow tunnel leads inside so low you must crawl. That tunnel is no inconvenience. It's a trap for cold air. The chill settles there, while the main chamber stays warm and quiet. The deeper you go, the gentler the wind becomes until you reach the center, a fire flickering beneath an oil lamp, surrounded by sleeping mats, and the smell of smoked fish. It's primitive air conditioning by design. The house uses the cold to keep itself warm. The entrance slows the wind, the earth muffles sound, and layers of grass breathe moisture like living lungs. Step outside, and you're in chaos. Step inside, it's calm, like the ocean exhaling. Now, cross the forests of the northeast, the land of frozen lakes and tall pines. Here, the Algonquian and Iroquoian peoples built wigwams, dome shelters made of bent saplings and bark, flexible, portable, and efficient. The curved shape sheds wind the bark traps, warmth, and a smoke hole above releases fire's breath. But the real genius lies in its adaptability. In summer, peel away the bark for air. In winter, add reed mats or extra bark for insulation. A single design, 4 seasons, infinite balance. Even more poetic, the wigwam's curve mirrors the sky. It's as if the builders understood that the round form, not the square, belongs to life itself. And then we reach the plains, the great open, the birthplace of the tipi, the most misunderstood and yet most perfected of all native shelters. Most people think the tipi is just a tent. They're wrong. It's an aerodynamic engine of air and fire. 15 to 25 poles form a cone so precise that wind glides around it like water. Inside, the lower liner separates cold drafts from warm air. Above the ozone, a suspended panel captures heat, directing smoke through adjustable flaps. The result, a perfect convection system, cold air in warm air out, never mixing, never wasted. When storms roar, families pack snow or soil around the base to seal it. When the sun shines, they raise the flaps to breathe again. It's not static, it's alive. A tipi doesn't resist the wind. It collaborates with it. Now here's the twist. Modern architects study the same principles today under names like passive ventilation and aerodynamic housing. But the Plains tribes mastered it centuries ago with no blueprints, no machines, just deep attention. So ask yourself who's truly advanced, the one who builds with steel and electricity, or the one who builds warmth out of wind and hide. When the firelight dances across a tipi's inner wall, you can almost hear it whisper, "The storm feeds me, not fears me." And that is the secret all 7 shelters share. They don't fight the blizzard. They invite it in, and in doing so, turn death into comfort. So what do all these shelters have in common? They weren't built to conquer nature. They were built with it. Snow became armor. Wind became breath. Fire became balance. While we seal our homes and hide behind heaters, these ancestors turned storms into teachers. They showed us that real survival isn't about fighting the elements. It's about listening to them. If you found a spark of insight tonight, watch our next story, how Native Americans found water in frozen deserts. And remember, hit subscribe, because every storm hides a secret. And every secret holds a survival lesson waiting to be rediscovered. Stay curious, stay warm, stay alive.